the law. Instead, they played his game. You go to the economy, the central bank, how can you withdraw $1 million with just a piece of cut A4 paper? Which bank in this world will give you $1 million just for a piece of paper? So they are not respecting their laws. They are not respecting banking procedures. They are not respecting regulations or the general economic management, to safeguard the assets of the country, the monies. They will just give it to him. So he comes back again, 500,000, 750,000, so on. So Gambia was robbed because we refused to respect the laws. We refused to implement strict institutional procedures and systems. That fails. So it has a very serious impact. Those are just two areas that I'm talking about. But at the end of the 22 year, almost everywhere, all systems have failed. Nothing was operating. So it's the task of this new Gambia to rebuild the country, the institutions, the system, and the processes. And I was privileged to be in finance. We started the economic reforms. That's to rebuild the economy. We have security sector reforms. I must say personally I wasn't pleased with the progress. Then you have the medical system. The medical system was almost collapsed. The current Minister of Health came to me while I was finance. When he described the theater, I was almost crying. It's like you have all butcher's tools and not something for human beings, not fit for human. And this is our main referral hospital. So many consumables missing. I was able to mop up from unspent budgets. I gave the RVH about $47 million to buy those urgently needed materials. And in the 2018 budget, I did put another $50 million to help. This is for the health of this country. If we can build RVHs, I may be a patient, somebody else may be a patient, another person may be. But these are failed institutions. So Gambia is starting from scratch. And one other thing I would say to the general public, reforms are painful. If you don't want to take it, you don't want to take the bull by the horn, you'll never achieve progress. We had serious economic measures that was cutting down on expenditure. And people felt their little privileges were being enough. But what would happen at the end if we fail to reform the greater good that this country, the economy can go down and everybody will be affected. Not the few that will be affected, because every reform will affect somebody. You go to the security sector, some officials will have to give way. Some institutions may have to be trimmed, And as one security expert also told, does Gambia even need a navy or an air force? We have Senegal all around us. It's a little gateway to the Atlantic. What you need is coastal patrol. You don't need to build a full navy. That's my view. We don't need an air force. Somebody who's coming to us, apart from the sea, you have to go through Senegal. So we are secure in that sense. And Gambia and Senegal, after Yajam, at least we had developed good relations. But we have to reform. We have to make these changes. Otherwise, we'll be back to square one. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Bojang, you have the floor.
Thank you. Commissioner Bojang. Mr. Sanneh, you said when you were taken to NIA, you were asked to empty your pockets and remove your watch and so on. So then after your release, were those properties returned back to you?
Yes, when we were going to the remand wing, they were taking us there. We had our things with us. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Carr.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to ask, in the incident in 1996, which I believe was the first case of your arrest, were the young people arrested along with you, and what happened to them later?
No, they were not arrested. A lot of them had to go, you had to cure yourself from your injuries. And, these are people from different places, diverse locations, so we meet to go on these political activities. So I cannot tell you the individuality of these young people. But I must say they were brave. They played a lot in the change that we wanted and to push this dictatorial.
The second is in relation to the cars. I think you said there were some of the cars were confiscated, right?
Yeah.
Was that also common? Was it something that party members suffered from gravely? Did you have your properties taken from you in a lot of cases?
No, for this one, yes. They did seize the vehicles there for the time. Party members and their properties, if I bring my own case, I had a garden at Tujere, then Social Security Housing was coming close by, but the time I had the garden, their initial plan did not reach my garden. This was a 200 meter by 200 meter, and then I had another 93 by 93. I was planning a garden I called my retirement project. I did the barbed wire fencing on the fence posts and filled it with cashew plants. Then suddenly, Social Security, they said they were expanding. I did not receive any letter. I did not receive any invitation. I had graders in my place, both places. All of it was demolished in a way, cleared to make way for the housing estate. I took this to court and won, and then Justice Mama Singate, she was the judge at the High Court. And I was given an award. I was not given back my land, but I was awarded for the cost. We ran from pillar to post, Chief Justice, Social Security, local government. Nobody was interested in delivering my justice, the court case. So my lawyer, and then I will say, look, Amadou, you are not the only one who's suffering this. We have cases that will never respect. So leave it. I said, this thing, case, it will not get rotten or so. Some good time you will get it back. So I left this. This was even before my second problem in prison. So up to the 3 years I served until after, within this regime, that he was able to make claim for the payment of that money. So that tells you, because I was UDP, everybody wants to discuss. They don't want to deal with my case. That's the effect that you have sometimes. Not local government, not the sheriff, not Social Security then, no. So I just left. So there may be others who have cases, but maybe they are private. I wouldn't know about this.
This is just an appeal in case, just final, in case you have the opportunity to give us your final thoughts of the day to please include certain youth issues, especially on how we can involve young people more in politics, based on your experience working for at least 3 governments. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Kinte.
Hello, assalamu alaikum. Honorable Sanneh, we will all echo our regret and our sadness on the ordeal you underwent. It was very painful. We even some of us became very emotional, especially when we saw the video. But the volume of experience you've had and education, which has a lot of bearing in your competence to be a consultant. Many schools of thought are arguing. Some said it is the institution. Some said it is the policies and the procedures, whilst others say it is the character. But the argument goes in a way that those schools of thought that think it is character that determines all of this, or if not dictate them, is highly influential or important, carries more weight. I will get from your points. You said in the prison officer wants to get the meat, wants to get the onion, to get the food. I don't know where you will go in the society that that will be exempted. In fact, various witnesses and so on argued that even the coup that brought about all this miserable condition, the allegation that people's attitude were motivating factors to the coup. I want you to advise, particularly the youth. I remember I said this earlier. I said for the old, the job is not going to be easy, and maybe they are phasing out. But what is your message to the youth so that we change our attitudes? We make reforms on our personal attributes, our character, so that honesty and others matter more than the material and the desires. That's what I want you to comment.
Thank you very much. The issue of youth is a critical and a very important issue for this country. I think we have a very high unemployment rate. I think maybe over 35% of our youths are unemployed. And we have to find ways to engage them into productive activities. Because it's very difficult. You have young men sitting all day, not doing anything, not engaged productively, so then they depend on the dependency syndrome and the other family members to help. Okay. Under the National Development Plan that's spearhead, the youth factor was taken into account. Serious consideration was given in the sense that you have to grow your economy, to build the economy, to expand, to be able to create employment that these youths can be engaged in. My favorite area was this agribusiness. We've seen it succeed in other countries, but agriculture as we know it here is the manual, then beat the donkey, pull the hoe or the horse. My dream was to get it mechanized and modernize irrigation schemes that can be very productive, and also commercially viable. Our visit to France in promoting the NDP, we met with the French authorities and their agents, Development de France, which had no program in the Gambia before because I'm based in Senegal. And maybe because of the last regime, they had no programs here. But they agreed to consider our request, and they were very much interested in agriculture, mechanized irrigation to assist. This is one area where you can engage a lot of youths, not only in rice, groundnut production, but in poultry, livestock, you can expand to the dairy. Importing milk. Gambia, we import almost everything that we do, from the shoes to the milk to the rice to the, what do you call it, eggs. And this is past this stage. But we have to invest in it. You go to Senegal now, they've succeeded, I think. They don't import chicken anymore. Their rice, they've cut down on the importation, I understand, over 30% now, over 30%. And you can see that the irrigation and agricultural schemes are taking. So AFD was going to help because they are involved in Senegal. They were going to transplant. And indeed they had come after several trips. They've chosen URR as their base to start pilot project from where we can expand and train more youths into this. If we import 80% of our rice, we have a river that half of it is fresh water. We have all the land along the banks that are, productive land, and we are not using it. So we have resources, God's gift, that we should utilize to create that employment. So that was a strategy we were developing at that time. ADB was also going to help in the rice value chain. It was not only to produce the rice, but to mill it and then bag it, then it goes straight to the shop. People buy rice, so I'll prefer to buy my Gambian rice. It may be even much cheaper, maybe around 600 instead of the 1,000 son. Because the 1,000 son, you have a foreign exchange cost on the imported rice, you have the freight cost, the shipping cost, you have the port charges, all that. I removed the tax as finance minister, the 10% on imported rice, to waive it to bring the price, but 10% doesn't amount to much if you want to talk about 1,000 something, maybe $100 or so. So if you produce here, you escape all those costs. We should be able to sell rice at a much cheaper rate, around 600, 700. But if you want to bring down the price of rice, and this is imported rice, as politicians maybe would like to say good words, we will bring it down to 500. But the factors involved, you don't control them. You don't control the international price. You don't control the shipping prices. All what we could control was the tax we impose on and maybe the port charges, maybe we can ask Port William, but as an enterprise, we have to leave them to operate in them. So we cannot really impact on the rice price on our own without investing in agriculture. And this is where we can get a lot of youths in the small ruminants, even cattle, dairy production. We have a lot of milk being produced, but we change it to sow. My visit to India, I saw one of they had a trade fair there, one of the, you had a dairy plant. You see Indian women with the aluminum caskets carrying the milk to the plant. So you don't have to sit around Serakunda market to sell maybe 2 gallons of milk for 3 days or so on. If you have it, you go straight to the dairy plant and it's sold. So there are integrated ways in which we could develop, and we had envisioned this in our National Development Program, but I cannot say more on the National Development Program. I'm not in any position. I'm a private citizen like you, so we will hope that there is delivery and that some of the dreams and the strategies embedded in the program can help. Then you have light industries that will also engage the youths, like groundnuts. 100 years since, when we are exporting the same raw groundnuts, before EMB used to export hand-picked seed nuts and for confectionery nuts. Now our groundnut industry has gone down so badly. We need to develop it. Like you go into a flight, you have roasted peanuts. You go to hotels, you have roasted peanuts. You grow peanuts, but you cannot sell roasted peanuts. 400 years old or what? It's light industry to take care of this. Then you have the vegetables and so on. So the youths, there are so many areas we can engage them, but we need to put investments there. They cannot just go into an open land and say, I want to be a farmer, or I want to be an animal husbandry, without any resources and investment. It's not possible. So we need to invest and engage them. The government should provide the news. That's why we were dealing with our partners, because the Gambia does not have the resources itself. So we need the goodwill that Gambia had generated through this change to transform it into something productive for our country.
Mr. Chair, I think we should, point of order.
What was that?
We have had a good discussion on national youth policy. It's quite interesting, but it takes us far away from the human rights violations we are here to investigate. Okay. So, just to flag that. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Jones. Also, you
yes, I have just follow up. Honorable, my issue, my question, more attitude. Attitude has a bearing with all this we're talking about, even the violations. Experience has shown us. We had diaries in Kaur and Dankunku. They failed. So, of course, yes, the resources and whatever matter, but the attitude. This is a well-followed program. That's why I want you to appeal to the people, particularly the youths, in terms of attitudinal reforms. It has a lot of bearing on our agenda. That's, no matter what we give them, if the attitude still fails us, yes, we will still fail.
Thank you. I think
first, sorry, Mr. Sanneh, but maybe we can hear the next question, and if you have any concluding remarks, you take them all together.
Yes.
Because we have engaged you the entire day. You look very strong, but taking your time after years of torture, you probably need a bit of a break. Commissioner Jones, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Sanneh, given the rights violations that was meted out to the UDP as a party and to yourself as an individual, I would like to understand what the day in the life of an opposition during the 22-year period was like. What was the feeling at home for you and your family as at the time you wake up in the morning and when you're going to bed at night?
I think it was filled with uncertainty. You get up, you want to go out, you don't know whether you will be picked up in the street or whether you will come back. That's always hanging over our head. And when you come back, at night you hope nobody comes and bangs at your door to take you away, because some of our members were taken out during the night, like Singul Nyasi. I think at the time Wajuara was also one of the victims. and some others, at night, they'll just come and, take you away. So, all in a climate of fear and uncertainty as regards your own personal safety, but we try to be strong because we believe in what we were doing. We carry on with what we want to do.
You testified to 3 different times when you were arrested. At any of those times, were your travel documents confiscated?
No. They were not interested in my travel documents. I think they were more interested in my own person.
That's interesting. That brings me to my next question. Despite the many attempts to break and silence you, and your own attempts to help individuals by stations for that their lives were threatened, what was the motivating factor for you when you woke up every day to continue in your life as a politician?
As I said, I want a better Gambia, and with colleagues and party members who felt the same, we really said we will put in our quota, and we hope the population would listen and share our views, and we change Gambia for everyone's good. That motivated us and kept us going all along.
Thank you very much. You may now proceed with your concluding remarks.
I think I've gone through all what we've just shared with you, and we hope, myself and all those who are part of it, that we will have a better Gambia. That has been a dream. Countries have transformed themselves. We have countries who are excelling in their development efforts that have gone through worst crisis than the Gambia. Rwanda is a shining example. Almost every reform, everything, we say let's learn from Rwanda. They went through worse genocide than we had. We have our pains, of course. But I see that they have an organized strategy to achieve their goals. I respect that discipline in their systems, in their officials. I meet them in meetings and so on. I think their commitment and the leadership had been a factor. You have to lead change to get change. If you cannot lead change, you cannot be an effective factor in the change process, then I don't think you will realize those goals. I want to here they have emergence, Senegal's emergence. You can see a lot of development around Diamniadio, the new airport and so on. They have a leadership that is pushing that through. They have a vibrant service. I think Senegalese have a greater race of educated people than we do, with a high level of illiteracy in this country, but that should not be a drawback. We need to take our future and guide it through the path that will make a better Gambia. And we see the developments, we see the engagements in youth and all the sectors going forward. And if I say we, I think everyone has a role to play in this change. That's why I say we need to lead the change. We are all part of the change agents for this country. Everyone has his corner to do. The legal team try to get justice for Gambian people. The educationists, we try to improve the quality of our education and move from the academics to skills. We need to develop our skills training. I remember during my 1 year at Crab Island, we were doing woodwork and planing wood and cutting. We were doing metal work, you know. These were skills some of maybe my colleagues then would have developed and gone to the private sector with. But an educational system that is focused on academic certificates. Again, the youths I see a lot with ABE, because a lot come to look for employment in my place. HND in this, business manager and so on. All these, somebody would have a series of certificates. At the end, what does it amount in terms of substantial quality for work? These trainings are mainly academic. We need to develop the skills in various sectors. I think that is important for Gambia. On the human rights issue, we've gone through a lot in these 22 years. But I think now we've achieved one very important aspect, that's the freedom of expression. The social media is buoyant with ideas and talks, whatever it is. I think the newspapers are also coming up, so many radios and TVs, but we all have to be on guard and to watch out that these violations do not repeat themselves, and we need to shout out loud and stand up and stop them being violated. Gambians should not be passive onlookers on activities. Because over the 22 years, some people will tell me, yo, Sanneh, do buy a halabi mulige leomi, mili bail pateleni. You know, they are not concerned. We all have to be concerned with all the rights violations. I think that's an important area for Gambians. If you see it, you shout out, and yet the right authorities involved, and if it's the authorities themselves who are not complying, then we have to see now that we have to develop our civil society networks to get up and stand up for the entire society. So I think with that we should be able to have never again. But it's not for only one person. Because I have even close friends who say, you UDP, what are you doing now? Look at this happening. I say, what are you doing? It's like I have to bear the brunt of the problems or to find solutions for it. But you want to sit back and say, what are you doing? What? But the question is, what are you also doing? We all share in this. So don't distance yourself from what is happening. It's for all of us. So it's not UDP's responsibility alone to bring this country up, to build the governance, to build the institutions and so on that we dream for. You have to give a hand, and we all have to share in this to make a better country. So the challenge is big. It's not going to be easy, but as we have survived with the help of God over 22 years, I think we need to go on again and try to make sure we don't relive the horrors that we've gone through and that it will never again happen to Gambians, to anybody. I think that's a general take from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sanneh. And again, on behalf of the commissioners, I want to thank you enormously for taking the time the entire day to come and share your views with us. Council, are we lined up for tomorrow morning?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we are lined up for tomorrow morning. Hopefully multiple witnesses.
Fine, wonderful. Don't give us any appetizer yet, so we'll wait for the main course tomorrow.
After this marathon, there wouldn't be much to give.
That's all right. Thank you very much indeed. If there are no other points, we will adjourn the meeting and resume tomorrow morning, sharp 10 o'clock. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Sir.
Fear over electoral rigging rocks Zimbabwe as the country.
Yesterday, after listening to Prime Minister May's assessment of the state of the negotiation,
why it is our diocesan patron feast day is because the Cathedral of Our Lady of the Assumption is dedicated.
Do not have it in their mindset or in their psyche that we are playing against Algeria.